10 symptoms of early stage type 2 diabetes. You might experience certain strange symptoms which you cannot place at the moment. You might even think that you have type 2 diabetes because these symptoms are very specific or your neighbor or family member has experienced them. Well, that's not a strange thought to have because research has shown from 2021 that over 500 million people worldwide have type 2 diabetes. And if that doesn't sound bad enough, other research has shown that these are just the cases we know that people have type 2 diabetes. When we research people who are 50 years and older and just measure their blood sugar to see what their blood sugar is, we usually find a prevalence of 3 to 4 times the known amount of cases, which means although we know that there are worldwide around 500 million people with type 2 diabetes, the actual rate of people having type 2 diabetes might be between the 1.5 and 2 billion people, which means that 20 to 25% of the world population has type 2 diabetes. And the chances are high that you might be one of them, especially if you're experiencing certain symptoms you don't know what they mean. Hi, I'm Ali from Illness Free Life, and in this video you'll learn the 10 most important symptoms of early onset type 2 diabetes. Symptom number 1, frequent urination. When you have high blood sugar, your body will try to do everything it can to get rid of those extra sugars in your bloodstream. Because sugar is a water-soluble compound, your body has an easy way to get rid of all those extra sugars, which is via your urine. And that's why you'll notice that when you have high blood sugar, you'll start to frequently urinate. This is a sign from your body that there is something in your body we need to get rid of, and in this case, it's a high blood sugar. So have you noticed that you have been frequently visiting the toilet more often than you used to without drinking more or without changing anything in your lifestyle? Then this might be a sign that you have increased blood sugar or full-on type 2 diabetes. Symptom 2, dehydration. If you have frequent urination on one hand, you'll automatically have dehydration on the other hand, because when you urinate, sure, you lose and expel a lot of excess sugars, which is good, but with that, you'll also expel a lot of water in the form of urine. If you do this more often than usual without drinking more often than usual, then you'll get dehydrated. The effect of being dehydrated is, of course, that you'll become more thirsty and you'll be drinking more, but also because of that, you'll be frequently urinating more, thus becoming dehydrated, and you'll end up in this vicious cycle of frequently urinating, becoming dehydrated, drinking a lot. The excess water has to be expelled again, so you'll frequently visit the toilet again. And that's why the holy trinity of symptoms in early onset type 2 diabetes is usually frequent urination, dehydration, thirst, and a lot of drinking as a result of all this. So again, have you been noticing that you've been visiting the toilet a bit more, you're more dehydrated than usual, you're drinking more than usual, then know that this is a very, very good indication that you have high blood sugar or type 2 diabetes. Symptom 3, foot complaints. Type 2 diabetes is known for causing a certain complication called a diabetic foot or diabetic feet. This is a complication in which the small blood vessels, the capillaries in your foot, get clogged up with all the excess sugars in your bloodstream. The capillaries in your extremities are very, very thin. They are 5 to 10 times as thin as a hair on your head, which makes them very, very thin. And something that is so thin is, of course, very easily clogged up by anything. And in the case of people with high blood sugar or type 2 diabetes, it's the sugars. The problem with this, of course, is that the clogging of the capillaries causes certain problems. On one hand, it's very hard for the body to deliver nutrients and oxygen to the area, the foot in this case, but also waste products and CO2 will not be able to deliver it out of that area. So you, on one hand, get a buildup of metabolic waste products and, for example, CO2. and on the other hand, you have a lack of nutrients and oxygen. The combination of this kills off cells in that hurt area. The first ones that are usually hurt are your nerves, which cause certain problems in the foot. For example, numbness or heat, or the sensation you're walking on cotton, or the sensation ants are walking on your foot. This is all because the nerves don't get the nutrients and oxygen they need to work properly and are not able to get rid of the waste products they produce, like metabolic waste products or CO2. Fortunately, if you step in at the right time and start changing your lifestyle, you'll be able to fix and heal these problems because they are reversible if you're not too late. If you wait, however, or neglect the problem, actual tissue and nerves will die and amputations will be necessary. That's why a diabetic foot is correlated or associated or known for causing amputations in the long term. And this is all caused by the problem that small capillaries get clogged up by the excess sugars in your bloodstream. Symptom 4, abdominal complaints. Not only your feet will be affected by a high blood sugar and the clogging of capillaries, but basically any place in your body that has capillaries during a period of high blood sugar. One of these areas is your gastrointestinal system. You might not notice, but your gastrointestinal system is very vascularized and perfused with blood. So much so that in rest, only 10% of your blood goes to your stomach and intestines. But after a meal, up to 63% of your blood can go to your stomach and intestines to absorb all the nutrients you just ate, which of course is a high amount of blood, and for this high amount of blood you'll need a high amount of blood vessels. And all these blood vessels can get clogged up by the excess sugars in your bloodstream. This can cause all kinds of problems, from stomach ache to nausea to vomiting. And your intestines can also be affected. By clogging up the capillaries in that area, the nerves of the intestines start working less, which can cause two contradictory things. Either your intestines will work slower or they will work faster, or sometimes slower and sometimes faster, which can cause sometimes constipation if they work slower, but it can also cause diarrhea if they work faster. And in the worst case of all, if a lot of capillaries in your gastrointestinal system get clogged up by the sugars, you can develop something called gastroparesis, which is basically your whole stomach and intestines shutting down completely, which you don't have to be a medical person to notice, is very dangerous to experience. Because without a working stomach and intestinal system, it will be very hard to metabolize, digest, and absorb nutrients from food. Symptom 5, poorly healing wounds. Your skin is the biggest organ of your body. People don't consider skin to be an organ, but it is. And such a big organ is of course very vascularized and perfused with blood and contains a lot of capillaries. If the capillaries in your skin get clogged up by an excess amount of blood sugar in your bloodstream, then you'll get the same problems as with the diabetic foot, which are lack of oxygen and nutrients for the skin to work properly, and a lack of disposal of the metabolic waste products that your body or your skin produces. This causes your wounds or wounds on your skin or feet or hands to heal very slowly, again, because not a lot of nutrients or oxygen go to the area and not a lot of waste products get away from the area. This problem is the worst the further you go away from the heart. So the extremities are affected the worst with this problem, and the closer you get to the big blood vessels, the less of a problem this is. That's why diabetic foot is such a problem, because on the one hand it contains a lot of capillaries, and the further away from the body it is, the smaller these capillaries tend to be, and thus the more worse the wound healing tends to be. So are you experiencing badly or slowly healing wounds without all the other symptoms, then this could be a sign that you have high blood sugar that is clogging up your capillaries and thus not making your body able to repair itself in a correct manner. Quickly, before we continue, if you like this video and want to receive more of these videos, don't forget to give us a like and to subscribe for free to this YouTube channel. That way you'll never miss a video and you'll help us reach more people to improve their blood sugar and reverse their type 2 diabetes. And now, back to the video. Symptom 6, vision problems. Type 2 diabetes is the leading cause of blindness in Europe. And worldwide, this is probably in every country the same. And the reason for this is, again, the clogging up of small capillaries in your body by a high blood sugar. Your eye is also full of small blood vessels that could get clogged up by sugars. One of the first vision problems you'll get has nothing to do with clogged up capillaries. It actually has something to do with high blood sugar in the solution or the fluids of your eye itself. When the amount of sugars increases in the fluids in your eye, the refraction of light changes in your eye, which causes, in the beginning, blurry vision. Fortunately, your eyes and brain will be able to adjust to this changed refraction. However, if your blood sugar is high one day, low the other day, your body won't be able to keep up with the changing refraction of the light in your eye and the vision will stay blurry. However, if the blood sugar stays high, the small capillaries of the eye will get affected, which can lead to blindness in the long run. This disease is called diabetic retinopathy, which is basically a disease of the eye caused by diabetes. And again, in Europe, it's the leading cause of blindness. So, have you been noticing blurry vision, changing vision, or just an overall lack of vision? Then this might be caused by a high blood sugar. Symptom 7, problems with your reproductive organs. Both women and men can get problems with their reproductive organs. And again, the cause of this is the clogging of small capillaries in that area, and both in men and in women, the area is very vascularized and full of blood. In men, the clogging of capillaries can cause erectile dysfunction. And the problems are pretty severe. Non-diabetic men have a chance of about 26% to develop erectile dysfunctions during their lifetime. Do you have type 2 diabetes? Then the chances increase to around 75%. So that's triple the chance of getting erectile dysfunctions. And to make it even worse, people who have type 2 diabetes tend to get these problems 10 to 15 years earlier than their non-diabetic counterparts. So the problems come earlier and more often if you have type 2 diabetes. And again, this problem is caused by the clogging of the small capillaries in your reproductive organs. Women can also experience problems. The most important ones are the clogging of the capillaries causes vaginal dryness, which can cause pain during intercourse and an increased chance of vaginal infections. Plus, the clogging of the capillaries can hurt or destroy nerves in that area, which will lower your feelings and sense of pleasure during intercourse or just during life. And overall, in the human body, if you're unable to feel something, whether that's in your reproductive area or in your feet or in your hand, chances are that you will hurt yourself. Because if you have a cut, if you have a bleed, if you have anything, you won't be able to feel it as good as a healthy person would. Symptom 8, fatigue. Fatigue is also a very known symptom of early onset diabetes, and this has several reasons. The first reason is, of course, your body is sick and is trying to regulate and solve the problem. By example, making you frequently visit the toilet or drinking more, and this all takes away a lot of your energy, which leaves you with less energy to do the regular things you want to do in life, causing you to be fatigued earlier or more quickly than you used to be. Second of all, you have a different problem. Although you have a high blood sugar, which theoretically should be good because sugar is a fuel for the body, and having high blood sugar means you have a lot of energy in your body. It unfortunately doesn't work like that. You can only use sugars when they enter human cells to be burned and used as energy. As long as sugar is in your bloodstream, you will not be able to use it, and it's just theoretical energy you have in your body. The problem with type 2 diabetics or people with high blood sugar is that they are insulin resistant, which means insulin isn't able to perform as well as in normal people, i.e. it's not able to absorb all those sugars from the blood into the cells to be burnt up. So sure, type 2 diabetics do have energy in their bloodstream, a lot of it, but it's in the wrong place. It shouldn't be in the bloodstream, it should be in cells to be burnt up. Which means one of the reasons that you are fatigued is that you have the energy in your body in the wrong place. It's in the blood, not in the cells. Thus, it's not being able to be burnt as energy, and this keeps you fatigued. So, do you have the feeling of being fatigued more often than usual? Then this might be a symptom of a high blood sugar or type 2 diabetes. Symptom 9, itching and skin complaints. As I mentioned before, when you have type 2 diabetes, the chance of you feeling dehydrated increase. The problem with this is that it also dehydrates your skin, and when your skin becomes dehydrated, it also becomes itchy, which is a symptom of high blood sugar and type 2 diabetes. There is also another reason why you might get skin complaints or itching, and that's because you have yeast infections. Yeast loves sugars, and a person with high blood sugar or type 2 diabetes is a walking vessel of sugars for these yeasts. That's why we see that people who have type 2 diabetes or high blood sugar have an increased chance of getting yeast infections all over their bodies, including their skin. On one hand, it's because the yeasts have a lot of sugars to eat and thus grow easily. And on the other hand, it's because the person is sick and not functioning very well, and a lot of energy is going to regulating the blood sugar and not the immune system. Thus, people with type 2 diabetes tend to become more sick regardless of the type 2 diabetes. People with type 2 diabetes tend to get affected by all kinds of diseases due to the high blood sugar, because their body is just not able to, on one hand, solve the blood sugar problem, and then also all the other intruders that want to hurt the body, one of which is the yeast. So, are you noticing more itching or strange skin complaints, you don't know what they mean, then it might be because you have high blood sugar, and this is causing your body to either let in the yeast and cause infections, or it's drying up your skin, causing the itchiness. Symptom 10, forgetfulness. When you think of high blood sugar and type 2 diabetes, you might not think of mental problems. But of course, the brain is also a very vascularized area with a lot of capillaries and a lot of blood. And again, any place where you can find a lot of blood vessels, especially small blood vessels, is an area that can be affected by high blood sugar and type 2 diabetes. And that's why research shows that people with high blood sugar and type 2 diabetes have a 60% increase in getting dementia compared to people who don't have high blood sugar and type 2 diabetes. To make it even worse, it doesn't stop at dementia. People who have high blood sugar and type 2 diabetes have an increased chance of getting basically every mental and psychological and psychiatric disease you can get. All because the small capillaries in the brain get clogged up by the blood sugars, thus reducing the function of the brain or killing off small areas of the brain which cause these mental or psychological problems. So everything increases, from dementia to Alzheimer to schizophrenia to psychosis, all because the brain is affected in its function. The problem with this symptom is, of course, that forgetfulness is something you will experience when you get older, and type 2 diabetes, the chance of getting it increases when you get older anyway. That's why sometimes people tend to blame the forgetfulness on old age and not their blood sugar or type 2 diabetes. But have you noticed that you've been more forgetful than usual? And this might be not only because of old age, but also because of high blood sugar and type 2 diabetes. And it's a great reason to have your blood sugar measured or to measure it yourself to know whether you have it or not. These were the 10 most important symptoms of early onset type 2 diabetes. If you want to learn more symptoms, please follow the link in the description of this video to our website, where you'll find an article about the symptoms of early onset type 2 diabetes. You'll also find a free giveaway we have called the Diabetes Free Secret, which is a document we compiled in which we teach you the most important causes of high blood sugar and type 2 diabetes, and what you can do to improve, prevent, and reverse blood sugar problems and type 2 diabetes. That's it for this video. If you have a comment about this video, please leave one down below, and I'll see you in the next video.